Well, we're going to go from John Henry yesterday to Sojourner Truth today. Do you remember Sojourner Truth? If John Henry was as stubborn as a mule, then so was Sojourner Truth. She was a former slave who was an abolitionist who fought against slavery. But not only did she fight against slavery, she fought for women's rights. And you may remember the speech that she gave that you'll see on the slide called "Ain't I a Woman?" Got a lady reenacting her speech, a different one than the one I showed you earlier in the year. Ain't I a woman? She fought for women's rights. Let's read about old Sojourner just today. Educators spread the word about slavery in the North. Sojourner Truth is best known as an outspoken abolitionist, someone who worked to end slavery. But what people may not know is that Truth was one of thousands of slaves in the United States who were bought, sold, and forced to do labor in the North. Many people are surprised when you talk about slavery in the North. Alan Singer, a professor of education at Hofstra University, told Weekly Reader, "We associate slavery with the South, even though the biggest importer of slaves after South Carolina was New York City." I don't think we read that this year, did you? I didn't know that. Spotlight on slavery. Singer and other educators spread the word about slavery in the North. Although there were fewer slaves in the North than in the South, slavery flourished, means there was a lot of it, in New York City, northern New Jersey, rural Pennsylvania, and the shipping towns of Connecticut and Rhode Island. In 1771, slaves made up about 12% of the population of New York City. That's a lot. That's more than 1 out of every 10 people. Some slaves in the North were offered freedom to fight for the British during the Revolutionary War. However, slavery wasn't abolished in the United States until the end of the Civil War. New Jersey, for example, reported 18 slaves in 1860. Singer explains that the slave trade helped support the Industrial Revolution in many northern cities, such as Boston and New York City. The Industrial Revolution was a rapid change in the economy in the 1800s, when factories and power-driven machines were introduced. Many U.S. businesses got their start with profits from the slave trade and slave-produced goods. Lasting effects. Singer tells students that the effects of slavery linger today through racial prejudice and discrimination. Kids see slavery as something that happened in the deep past. I want children to know that we still live with the effects of that slavery today, of that slavery society. History maker, Sojourner Truth. Isabel Baumfree, 1797 to 1883, was born of one of 13 children, but never got to know her siblings because they were sold into slavery. She was emancipated or freed in 1828. In 1843, she changed her name to Sojourner Truth. She traveled throughout New England and the Midwest, speaking publicly against slavery and in favor of women's rights. All right, you got some questions. Of course, you say, of course, Mr. Helton, we have questions. But these are easy. All you got to do is slide the circle like you have been doing. You've got 5 questions today on number 5. Boy, that kind of got blurry, but you know what an abolitionist is. If you don't, we read it in the story. Click in the box and type your answer. Okay? All right, I'll let you get to it. See you tomorrow.